Okay, people, I'm Taz Thornton. Here's another really quick business tip. You cannot have a party without people. This is one of the most common faux pas I see people in business making. And yet again, I've got to say it's usually coaches, healers, therapists, the kind of people who want to run programs or write books or get lots of clients in. Everybody seems to think, well, not everybody, but a lot of people I see seem to think that they can just create a program, drop it out on social media, and hey presto, they'll have lots of people wanting to buy it. It's not that simple. It doesn't matter whether you're paying for boosted adverts or paying for a funnel scheme or listening to one of these jokers who tells you that you can have a 6-figure income or a 7-figure income now overnight. You've got to be a real person. You've got to show that you care. You've got to be interested in other people. There's a reason that my programs sell out. There's a reason that I do all right, thanks very much. It's because I've been pretty much doing this since I left corporate in 2010 and doing it, full time for quite a few years now. It's because I've invested a lot of time in building brand Taz and building my audience. That's so, so important. And it really is a step you cannot skip. Now, I know that there are a lot of people who are still living in the wonderlands of the 80s and the 90s who seem to believe that if you suddenly drop a piece of PR in a glossy magazine, or you write a book, all of a sudden your audience will grow and you'll have overnight success. I've never seen an overnight success actually happen overnight. Most overnight successes are at least 10 years in the making. And I know I sound flippant, but it's so, so true. If I hadn't put the effort into building my brand, into showing up regularly, and not just as an ego trip for me, but understanding why I'm doing it, why I want to help people, what I can offer to other people, taking the time to actually support, to inspire, to motivate. If I hadn't grown my audience to thousands before I started putting my books out, they wouldn't have got to that coveted Amazon bestseller spot, because we didn't play any of the Amazon games and drop the price and give people freebies and do all the launch shenanigans. We just put the books out there. In fact, both of my books, Unleash Your Awesome and Whispers from the Earth, neither of them are self-published. There's nothing wrong with self-publishing. I just didn't take that route at first because I'm an ex-journalist. I wanted to see if somebody would be willing to take a chance on me. And with both of those publishers, one of the first questions they asked, they wanted to know, was what my following was like on social media. Because in order to take a punt on at the time, relatively unknown author, they needed to be sure that I would be able to sell copies of the books. If I didn't already have a solid base of thousands of followers across my social platforms, they wouldn't have touched me with a barge pole. So please, 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 people, I want you to apply that rule to whatever it is you're doing. Things have changed now. The goalposts have shifted monumentally, and they're not likely to go back anytime soon. You can't just get featured in a national or in your regional press and be successful. You can't just write a book and suddenly have thousands of followers. It's the other way round now, unless you're very, very, very special and, 1 in 100 million. In order to be successful with your book, you need the audience there. So I say this all the time to, again, predominantly coaches, healers, therapists, people who are big on building their personal brand. If you're writing a book, you need to really, really, really get focused and determined in building your audience first. You need to build your tribe so that by the time that comes out, people are like, when's it coming? When's it coming? I want your book. I want your book. I want your book. If you have an audience that's tiny and then you put a book out, all that's going to happen is you ain't going to sell many copies. And you'll risk feeling like a flop. Even when I built up a good audience, still don't sell as many as you'd like to. For anyone, any author will tell you that. And it's the same with programs. You can't just put a few posts out there on LinkedIn or Facebook talking about your background, and then 3 posts later put out a big whammy exciting program and expect people to rally to your banner. You need to fill the room first. You can't have a party without people, or it's just going to be you standing there, boogieing on your own, doing your best to look happy, maybe with a pair of headphones in. It's you and Alexa, or you and your iPhone, or you and whoever you play your music with. That's it. Me, myself, and I. So you can't skip the steps on this. It doesn't matter how many funnel programs you buy. Excuse me. It doesn't matter how many of these programs that people flog you to suddenly make you successful. The majority of those people are successful because they're flogging you a program that tells you tells you that you'll be successful. They're not successful because they've employed those steps. Most of the time, they've created some kind of strategy and they are getting their money through selling you a strategy. You need to understand that. You need to put the legwork in. You need to keep showing up, and you need to show up with a genuine desire to serve, to inspire, to motivate, to support, to be interested in other people. You cannot just show up to sell. You cannot just drop a glossy product out there and expect to suddenly have millions of followers. You can't just boost all your Facebook ads or pay for LinkedIn Premium and expect to suddenly be successful. You've got to put the work in. I'm sorry about that. But on the flip side, if you're doing what you're doing for the right reasons, if you genuinely love your work, then it's not a hardship. That's the bit that feels exciting. When you can genuinely get out there and make a difference in other people's lives, that's the exciting part. And then when you drop out your program, your course, your video series, your book, because you'll have approached that with the same kind of emphasis on helping, supporting, inspiring, motivating other people, that's the cherry on the cake. You've got to build your audience first. You've got to work at that. You've got to get out of ego into service and into putting the effort in to showing up. You need to put the legwork in. You need to put the legwork in. You need to put the legwork in. And you need to care. You need to care. You need to care. I'm Taz Thornton. I hope that helps. If you wanted to skip the steps, I'm sorry if I've disappointed you, but that's what it's going to take, people. You've got to keep it real. You've got to stop trying to cheat. You've got to be in it for the right reasons, not just this, but this. Follow your heart, but take your head with you.